Are you ready for Clifford's Corner podcast?
Yes!
With your host, Clifford English. Turn your speakers up, cause the episodes be dripping.
Got that drip. I got the drip.
He's talking about society, culture, and more. What you need to know, when you need to know. And now, here's your host,
They call me.
Clifford English.
Hey, welcome to Clifford's Corner, where we encourage, where we empower, where we equip, where we educate, and we show enough entertain you. It is a beautiful Saturday morning here in Houston, Texas. Again, want to welcome you to Clifford's Corner. Go ahead and do this while you're there. I usually post this at the end, so disregard the thanks for watching, but thanks for tuning in, of course. I want you to like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And then most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Today's segment is brought to you by Majestic Events and Entertainment, DJ and Uplighting Photo Booth, Marquee Letters, Dancing on the Cloud. This is the website, majesticeventsandentertainment.com. Of course, there we go right there. So today we are going to be talking about something that is very, very difficult, a hard topic to discuss. So I knew I couldn't do it by myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Jason Walker. What's up, sir?
Come on, Cliff.
Yeah. Bring you in right.
Go round of applause, huh?
Yes, sir. Let me do it one more time. They can't stop clapping. You're getting a standing note.
I'll take it.
Yes. Okay, so Jason, we're going to be talking about the emasculating of the black man, and the reason why I said emasculating because it's ongoing. It hasn't stopped. And we're going to get to the root of why it hasn't stopped, or do we see any end in it stopping? Me personally, as my mother used to say, that's a long road to hoe. I think, and I asked Jason to define, and in a short version, the word emasculating simply means to weaken. Right. So you can, to make it simple, to all those watching, it can be to weaken the black man. Now, I will be the first. Let me go first. There are so many variables, so many issues, so many circumstances, so many situations that essentially weaken the black man. Now, I'm going to say in some instances, we have, the black man, have been part of weakening ourselves. Would you agree to that?
I agree.
Okay. So in your own words, Jason, tell me how you think as a black man we have weakened ourselves.
I think that there are certain things we've done to feed into the stereotypes that they use to also to push the emasculation of us. I think that there are a lot of manly responsibilities that we have not taken care of.
Right.
Although we did not always create all the things that have got us to this point, we allow those things to continue, such as like not being in the homes, not taking care of our kids, devaluing ourselves, getting too caught up and consumed in glorification of money, drugs. I almost want to say like the whole stripper life and things of that nature, but I also don't want to take away from women who choose to go that route. But I just think that we've done too much to destroy our own image in a culture that's already trying to destroy our image in the first place, and we let it keep on going. We shoulder shrug it.
Right. Now, so let's talk about the home. Jason is a father, by the way, just to let y'all know that a little small history about him. So in our household, let me say this. I believe, that my mother, had she been single, could have raised me, my twin brother, and my sister, hands down. That being said, because that was a different generation and a different, mother. Now, I'm going to put the Bible to work right here. I'm going to put the Bible to work, and let me tell you why. Because the Bible speaks of I think it's Naomi and Ruth. Is that Naomi and Ruth? So the world needs more of them, more of the older women teaching the younger women. Same thing, since we're talking about men, the world needs, as black men, what we need more of black men teaching young black boys. We need more of that, instead of doing, as you said, shoulder shrugging and saying, that's not my child, that's not my responsibility. And then we sit back and point fingers at the end of the day.
Correct.
Right.
So I do want to make a clarification when I say this. So this doesn't necessarily mean that like you and the child's mom have to be together no matter what sort of circumstance and married in this home, but because sometimes there's a lot of people who like are together in toxic situations, and there are some foundation shakes, right, where women went through this period where it was all about being submissive, relying on the man. Women are kind of having their breakthroughs and things of that nature, and some of that has contributed to pushing against black men or things of that nature. And so whether y'all are together or not, it's about handling your responsibility. You brought this child into this world, you got to handle your responsibility. That's what I'm speaking more so, because yes, a woman is capable of raising a child. A man is capable of raising a child, but we cannot ignore the fact that there are loopholes when those things are not done in conjunction. And so really it's about taking care of your responsibilities, not acting like it's just something that is optional.
Right. Because it's not. Right. Right. So again, we're talking about emasculating of the black man, basically the weakening. So I think from the level of weakening ourselves, we have weakened ourselves because we collectively have not taken, or maybe we don't know our rightful place in society, our rightful place in the home, our rightful place in the community, because maybe some are not interested in knowing what that is, because knowing what that is going to require you to be responsible. And some, I'm gonna just keep it 100. Some black men don't want that responsibility of being responsible. That means I got to get out of mom and them house, go get my behind a job, put that weed down, pull my freaking pants up. I got to start doing all of that and be responsible. Go raise my kids, but I don't want that. That's too much. That's too much for me. So in that regard, I'm not trying to hear what you got to say about, and then the response is you blaming the world for, your shortcomings.
I mean, there's a level of truth in that, right? So one thing that you said, the only thing you said that I have a slight counter to is we don't have a designed place in society.
Okay.
Right? Like the black man was never meant to be here and to be successful and to be responsible, right? So like from the beginning of our times here, society's job was to tear us down and weaken us and things of that nature. So our place in society does not necessarily exist. However, in the home and in the community, it does. And you kind of have to just take that responsibility and you have to handle that business. And let's be clear, it's not like it's always easy, right? I know some men who aren't really as active in their child's lives because the mom literally pushes it to the end of the earth where they're not. Sometimes the mom uses that child as a tool, and some men get tired and give up and say, I did what I could. That's not okay on either end, right? So I'm not saying that it's 100% on our faults, but at the same time, I do know men who had kids and just pieced out. I do know men who don't care about the perception of life, who don't care about how the image is thrown at us. Why every rap song and every show portrays us in this certain image, that they have no motivation to change that. And some of that, like I said, is not our own doing, but I'm also not going to pretend like we're not intelligent enough and we're not driven enough to not fall into societal's agendas.
Right. So I do agree with what you said about society was not designed from the writing of the Declaration of Independence. When they said "we the people," they were not talking about us. Period. They were not talking. So it's not designed for us. But not having is not an excuse for not getting. So above anything, get an understanding. So I have to understand, like you said, that it's designed. I'm not going to use the word fail. It's not designed, or it's not built for me. It's built to emasculate me. Now I'm going to tell you my thoughts on. You talked about. Let's talk about relationship wise.
Okay.
I totally disagree with whatever parent it is, whether it be no, I'm gonna back up now because I'm in a heightened level of roasting people today. So you black women out there that are putting your child in between the dad, the biological father, and trying to manipulate him and maneuver him to your advantage, you suck. I'm gonna tell you straight up. You sorry. I'm not taking it back. I mean, if the dude does not want you and he wised up and moved on, who are you to put the child in the middle of that for your advantage? You don't want anybody raising your child and telling them when he comes to pick the child up, he can't spank the child. You a doggone life. If I'm feeding him, guess what? You're gonna be down. You getting some of this discipline too. You're not gonna take from me because my job as a parent is to discipline you. And that's part of the emasculating. You taking the power from me. You weakening me. So let's talk about how. Let me say this, and I'm not picking on anybody, but I gotta speak to my sisters, and y'all might not like this. Hey, and I don't care. Share it with somebody who you if you don't, you can go to YouTube when you share this video. Share it with somebody who might like it. I have noticed on social media, we as a people, talking about black people, black women in general, we are the only culture that dog out black men on social media. I am so, I can't say it, freaking sick. If he's a good man, he'll do this. A man, I read on, I got my phone said, wait, let me hold on, let me get out. Let me read this. This is, somebody posted this. I saved it just for this. Hold on, let me say what it says. Oh, a man is supposed to provide and protect, not beg and collect. Beg and collect. Okay, so wait a minute. My question is this. How are you so keen into knowing what a man is supposed to do? I never see you post what a woman is supposed to do. It's like you're weakening us because you're constantly, not all of them, you're constantly badgering black men. So my take is all black men are not sorry. Just the ones you picking are sorry. Go ahead and chime in, Jason. This is on you.
So to make a comparison, I think it will be really weird to watch a bee fight a flower, right? Like when they're made, their life depends on each other, right?
Right.
The flower produces the things that the bee needs. The bee pollinates the flower. But if you saw a bee and a flower beefing, it would look so stupid to you. And really, that's what social media has become. And one of my pet peeves is I really hate seeing women, and this is daily. This is not like once a week, once a month. Act like they get to choose and define what a man is. A real man is this. A real man is that. Like, man, that ain't your position. That's not your position. Your name is not Marion or Webster, right?
Hey.
Like.
Go ahead.
You don't get to define that, and I don't see a lot of men defining that on women. And to me, it's ridiculous. You don't get to move the needle. A real man is not what you want it to be. A real man is what a real man is, and right. Y'all got to relax on that. And then you add in the fact that you are selective on what gender roles stay and what gender roles go. Right. A real man is this and that, but you won't submit to a man, right? So you want to keep 15% of the gender roles from your great grandparents, but then the other ones you want to remove. And to me, it's counterproductive. One, when I see women post these sort of things, I'm like, do you think a man is looking at that and thinking you're attractive? Like, do you think a man? Ooh, I want this woman who gonna just define and blah blah blah. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous and it's dumb. Yes, and if you want somebody to be something, you get them there through encouragement. You get them there through uplifting. You don't get there through crapping on them. And so I don't understand why women continue to do that. And it's a trend. I don't even have an issue with the women who post it. I have an issue with all the women who like it and post it and share and brag. Girl, yeah, like that's ridiculous. And with all the flaws men have, I don't see us going on doing that nonstop. And I just kind of think that it's ridiculous. It's counterproductive. It makes you feel better, but it also ruins the population of what you say that you're trying to get.
Right. And also what that does is, Jason, so what I do is I look at the thread, like you said, whenever they post something ridiculous like that, And I said, okay, yeah, it's got 1 million likes. But then someone can turn right around and be on the same platform, the same friends, and post something positive, and you get 3 thumbs up, for something that's positive. Yeah, if that. As a community, as a Black community, what do you think the percentage of the Black woman has played in emasculating the Black man?
On a percentage, I would probably give it about 20%. And I don't want to go higher just because I think what a lot of Black women are doing is they are feeding off of the momentum of what society's already creating, right? Like, I don't know if I worked in the court when I was in high school and a little bit after high school. You can see, especially go sit in a family court for 2 days. You can see the strategic process of emasculating Black men. Like, you can see, through child support and other things. And so you can kind of see it. And so I think that women didn't start it, but they're carrying it on. And it's not all women. Let's be very clear. It is a percentage, but I think the lack of realizing what you're contributing to or redirecting and finding a better path, because please tell me where this crapping on men is productive at all. Like where's it productive? No man reads that and says, I want to be a better man.
Right. No, they don't. No, if they're reading it like me, and it has nothing to do with me being married. When I'm reading it, I'm thinking, really, what kind of a dude is, and it's a constant. It's agitating to me because when I say this, and I don't mean it's directed at anybody. I'll be like, you ugly anyway. You know what I mean? So wait, let me stab myself. Yeah. So I mean, I'm like, okay, then I make it personal because I know how it is as a Black husband, as a Black father of 2 boys. I know how hard it is to raise, to maintain my family, to maintain my household, to fight off the devil, to all of this, and walk into my house and the lights and everything is still on. And my sons, I haven't had to go to the jail or the cemetery. I understand that. So for anybody to tell me, it's hard to fight off that part. So I'm thankful that I don't have a woman that that was part of the emasculating process, but was more so part of the uplifting process. So you talked about when we were the courts. I believe, in my simple way of thinking, and this is in a nutshell, the emasculating of the Black man started at slavery. Started by them tying down the Black man and raping him in front of his family. Also splitting this when the child was born, splitting the child up. So that has continued to happen. And how they have done that is, and it was a sneaky way of doing it, is separate, because back in the day, the Black household, the Black community was a feared and revered unit. So they, and who you, and if you they and you watching, I'm calling you they because I don't want to call you something else. If you watched how they did that, the single way that they did that to emasculate the Black man, to tear down was to remove the Black man from the household. How did they do that? I'm glad you asked. Well, here's what they did. They said, let's take him out of the household and turn the woman against him. How are we going to do that? Well, first of all, when we give you government assistance, not knocking anybody on government assistance, and we put you in Section 8 apartments, what's the first thing going to tell you? Hey, you can't have that dude over here. So what's that done is we basically split you up. Now we have the woman with a child. The man is not there. You mad at the guy because he burnt off and he can't be there. Now what you've done is you got a little Black son there in that house. Now what you're doing is your anger has dripped into that little boy's life. Now you turning the child against the daddy. And it's a cycle that is repeating, and it is literally destroying. It hurts me when I see when we lived in where we used to live, I would see this young woman at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm on my way to the parking ride with a little baby by herself, a little boy. And I'm wondering to myself, what happened? Where is the dude? This girl struggling. She got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to catch the bus to get this child to school. The child was, and I'm wondering in my mind, what happened? Where is the dad? What happened? So I agree with the 20% about, about how the woman has played. Now, let's talk about how society, and it's not a black and white issue, Jason, has played a role in the emasculating of the black man. Go.
Well, I mean, so piggybacking off of what you started with, you got to realize that they went and got black people to bring here to do labor and all other things because they felt like we were superior in strength. We were superior in a lot of ways. Even like if you really deep dive into slavery, outside of those who just thought black people were like these barbaric idiots, whatever, a lot of them thought we were smarter. We were faster, stronger, whatever. And so the key is, it's kind of like getting a bull. This bull could be very productive for me, but I have to tame this bull and I have to keep this bull in its place, right? And so that's where it all began. And so that is a continuous thing. And then the second part was we have to target the woman to make sure that they carry out part of our plan. Now when you go into society as far as the emasculating of so now you're fighting some duality, right? Now there's the emasculating of black men and there's the emasculating of men, period, at the same time. So now you're fighting all sort of things. Then you add in self-confusion, where what are the tenements? What are the qualities of a man now, right? Like, for me, I want to be very clear on two things. One, I'm not anti-woman. My dad was not in my life growing up. And so I definitely understand the sensitivities to it. I am pro a lot of things when it comes to women because my mom had to do everything herself. That's one. Two, I'm also not anti-gay, right? Like, to me, it's fine for me to have my opinions. Your life is kind of your life, right? However, me being either one of those does not change me from seeing agendas. There's a clear agenda. You know what I mean? I was watching Virgil Abloh. He's like the guy who like makes Off-White, and he's like the head designer of Louis Vuitton. His Instagram went across my page the other day, and it's just like the dude wears fingernail polish. He wears like these really weird kind of questionable clothes, whatever. And if my son came and sat next to me, and he just kind of looked, because it makes you kind of get confused to what the qualities of a man is. You know what I mean? Like Young Thug, rapper. Young Thug's always wearing like these dresses and all sort of, making these very feminine poses, whatever.
Right.
But he speaks on as if he is this straight man who is doing this stuff to women or whatever. That creates this confusion. So now you have this full emasculation. The motives behind emasculation are debatable, but there's this full emasculation of men, period. So now you have black men fighting the emasculation of men and fighting the emasculation of black men. And it just creates this whole confusion thing. The key now is going to be, what is the motive? What is the motive? Because when does it end? How far does it go? It depends on what you think the motive is. And there's a clear plan of emasculation. The motive is debatable.
Right. So without us knowing what the direct motive is, that's why it's going to continue, because we can't determine what the motive is. I think as a people, as a black man, I think the motive is for me is to extinguish my existence to where let me rephrase that, to where I'm not as strong as I am, and being a strong black man in today's society, knowing everything that we know takes, I understand why some dudes are angry all the time. I understand. I have applied for jobs and had to go in the interview open casket dressed up, while this dude who don't look like me came in looking like he getting ready to go rope cattle. And I'm like, okay, had to go get my resume binded and all this other stuff. So why do I got to do that? And this guy don't got to do it. But it's all a mindset, so that's something that I roll over to my sons. We didn't make the rules, but since you know what the rules are, then you should be able to adapt to that. You should be able to adapt to this society that does not want you, that does not respect you. So I think as part of the emasculating process, to survive, we need to know what our role is as a black man. We got to know what that is. We got to know what it is, and then we need to accept it and not shy away from it.
I think that there's a second part that goes into this, and this is probably the part that I think is not talked about enough. We need to push masculinity without pushing toxic masculinity. And I think because toxic masculinity exists and we ignore it, it hurts the authentic agenda of just pushing masculinity. Let me get an example. I see too many guys crap on things that aren't even. Hold on, this weed whacker's coming by me.
That's all right. You good?
But I see too many guys crap on things that aren't even gay, but they call it gay, and that creates this toxic masculinity, and it then pushes people away from natural masculinity. And so I think that if we eliminate toxic masculinity, it will help people accept masculinity. And without that, we're not going to be able to push it, right? You got to know your role. You got to know what to do. No matter what society is there, you got to be okay doing what you have to do. It's hard to raise your son to be masculine at this point, because they're going to say that you're pushing them to be this, and pushing them to be that. And so I just think that right now you're dealing with so many conflicts in society. You're dealing with the emasculation of a black man. You're dealing with with how the black woman is doing. You're dealing with the pushing of femininity. You're dealing with eliminating toxic masculinity. You're dealing with society trying to make you not just live your life and be what you're supposed to be. It's so many things. And what happens is, by human nature, people get frustrated and they quit. And I think that's why you see so many guys not handle their business. I think that's why you see so many guys who don't take care of their kids. And I think that there's so many things that we're fighting. Then you try to step away, you go get on social media, and now you're getting crapped on by the women that you're trying to be going after. It's so much going on right now that I think there has to be a new center of focus, and how to get that center of focus is really hard. Right.
I'm not going to use the word impossible, but it is hard with all those factors that are ongoing. They haven't stopped. They were here before we got here, and chances are they'll be here when we leave. But I really think from that standpoint, from knowing our roles, knowing our place, and then and most importantly, once we know all of that, our place in society, our place in the household has to be accepted by those around us. If you're married, those of you who are married, or you plan on getting married, and your household is not a what I call a biblical household, where and you are the head of the household. That's what the Bible says, and it doesn't matter how much you make. See, and that's where you don't make the money that I make. That don't mean nothing. Tell it to God. What you gonna say? So once we accept the role, I think everything starts in the household. That's my simple way of thinking, because that's my small circle. If I can make my household great, then I make my wife great. I make my children great, and then they have a circle. For me, it branches out. So I think individual as a black man, if we start educating ourselves first, don't be worried about educating everybody else. One, because everybody's not going to listen. And let me tell you why they might not listen, because you might not be credible to listen to. I don't listen to everybody that come up and call themselves dripping knowledge or whatever crap you want to tell me, because I'm looking at your life and it's messed up, it's whack. Why would I listen to you? That's like somebody giving me marital advice. You've been divorced 4 or 5 times. What the hell are you going to tell me? You can't tell me nothing. That's what I'm saying. So I think if we start by the household, first I go back to what you said, your son, when your son sat down and he sees Young Thug, what's the conversation? Because there needs to be a dialogue with my son when he sees that. I don't get into a person's sexual preference. That's not something for me to argue. Relative to my children, that's a conversation that I need to have with my children. And when you reach the age of accountability, I go back to, my son's youngest is 21, the other one was 30 something, that's something between you and God. I already told you. So I'm not going to badger you that, but I still I still expect, the expectation is for you to man up. For you to man up, get you a job, settle down, be productive in society, make worthwhile contributions to society. That's my expectation for my young black men.
One thing you said a little bit before your last point, to me, is kind of important, starting in the household. There's so many women, so many girls who are being raised only by women without a dad in the household, that when they become older or adults or want to get into a deeper relationship, they're not conducive to a relationship where the man is the head of the household or the man leads. They don't even know how to let the man lead. And so what happens is, if a man is emasculated within his own home, then that emasculation trickles down to the kids. That emasculation pushes out when they walk out that door. And that emasculation keeps on going. And, we had this very strong independent woman movement, which as a father of girls, like, I actually am happy about, but at the same time, I think that there are so many women who don't know how to let a man lead. And if a man can't, if a man can't get the opportunity to be a full man in his household, it kind of ruins the opportunity for them to continue to be a man everywhere else. Now, I already know what the counter is. If a man cannot be a full man in a household, he don't need to be in a household. Hence, why you see a lot of men who aren't in the household, right? And so to me, you say, men, we have to educate ourselves. No, it has to be a partnership. It has to be a partnership. If women cannot, to some level, join in on the repair of our community, it's probably not going to happen. We can try, but it's probably not going to happen, because a man's always going to want to seek a woman. The man isn't going to necessarily only seek this submissive woman. And so I kind of think that it's going to have to be a community healing process and re-education process. And that, if that doesn't happen, I think that we're kind of ice skating uphill.
Right. So this generation of young black men and young black women, are they ready for the sit down, the peace talks? Or are they ready to sit down and say, are they ready? Because you got a lot, and I'm not knocking women. I don't want anybody to say that, but you have a lot of women nowadays that you said that have been bred to this culture. You don't need no man, and that might be true, but I got to go back to the book. When God made Adam, I haven't seen anything else for Eve's specific place. Was he saw that he saw that Adam was lonely. It didn't say nothing else. So that suggests to me that there needs to be some type of meeting where we understand, one, what our role is. Two, the man has to take, I even had a friend of mine that said, I'll let him lead, when I want him to lead, or some crap like that, So wait a minute. So you judging whether or not he's ready to, so who made you the judge of whether or not he's ready to lead? Because what happens is once you got a checklist from him 1 to 5. Once he does number 1, then you want him to do number 2. And once he gets to number 5, you've already thought about what number 6 is. So he never gets an opportunity. He doesn't measure up pretty much. And it goes back to
we cannot guess when those opportunities come, right? Like if you only want us to lead when you want us to lead, well, then what will happen is, let's say that there's 5 steps. And on step 1, the woman wants to lead herself. But step 2, the woman wants to lead herself. Step 3, she wants the man to lead. But if that man don't jump up to lead on that step 3, well, then he is what? Emasculated for not leading on step 3. You know what I mean? It's a complex puzzle that we just, what do you do? You know what I mean? What do you do?
Right.
And so that, that's the tough part.
Right. So we're gonna wrap this up, Jason. So I definitely want to make sure that as a culture that we understand the black man. We have to understand what our role is first as an individual. Yeah, the deck is stacked against us. We know that, but we can't play into the old, it's, the world is against me, blah, 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 as an excuse for our bad behavior. Because, we if you turn on the news, most of the time we strong on robbing people. It's little young black kids that's, pistol putting a gun in somebody's face, robbing somebody to go buy weed because you don't work, so whatever, making somebody take their J's off and hand them to you. I mean, we're becoming a culture of we don't want to work. I think television, social media has basically crippled us to where we see shiny, we see making it rain in the club, ladies, you don't get a lot of likes, and I've seen this. I've literally seen this where someone on social media fully clothed, nice churchy post. Wait a minute. Nice churchy post on there. And then you're not getting a bunch of likes. The next thing I know, you got your cleavage out and your likes just went up 1,000%. Then the next thing I know, you sticking your butt out, and then
it's an addiction. Post that picture every day.
Yeah. I mean, so that's where we've fallen. We have fallen. And again, you don't see any culture doing that but us. I saw a picture where they showed how, and back to how the ladies dressed coming to church in the 80s and the 90s. The Bible says women adorn yourselves modestly. It says that. But it showed the difference of, how you dress coming to church today. And I know the argument is the Bible says, come to God, come as you are, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. No, that's not an excuse for you to come to church looking like a prostitute. I mean, I'm sorry. It speaks to you and how you view, so I think the devaluation of ourselves as a culture, Jason, plays a big role with that. We have to value ourselves. Is that correct? Hello? Jason froze on me. So let me keep going. Did you hear me, Jason?
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, go. You froze on me. Go ahead.
I didn't hear your question. I heard everything up to.
I was saying how we have to value ourselves to be a part of the de-emasculating process.
Yeah, what you have to do is not let your value be dictated by outside sources, right? And that's where it starts. And so we got to show each other value. And to me, to do those sort of things, you have to have tangible plans. And part of that, step one, to anybody who's listening, step one, let's stop crapping on each other publicly in social media. Let's just start there. Let's stop creating devalue so we can create value. Like, I post a lot. I don't devalue women on my social media. That's unproductive. And so the other part is, even if you get nothing out of it, man, compliment a woman, compliment a man. You know what I'm saying? Let them know that they have value, because we got to build that value up. And once that happens, understand that your value, you can let other people value you if they want. But other people, you should not accept other people's devalue. Don't let other people devalue you. Don't tell you that you're not working. We already got to deal with that in society.
Right.
They kill us nonstop and nothing happens. So that's a devaluing thing. So don't let devalue come from the outside.
Right. And ladies, let me say this. This is free. Just because a dude compliments you, he's not trying to smash. I mean, get over that. I mean, stop it. I mean, some dudes was raised right. It's okay, to tell a woman, hey, you look nice today. It does not necessarily. And I think that's where we're heading. You think because a guy says, hey, you look nice today, the next thing you know, he's trying to hook you up. Let's go to the Do Right Hotel and, get this over with. I mean, it's not about that. To me, that's devaluing yourself, because all you thinking of yourself is all I'm is a piece of tail. Okay. So, I agree. If we do that, if we bring up the value of ourselves, first value ourselves as a black man, then everyone else will see, because we already know as a black man, your life, look at the news, is not really worth, they can kill 1,000 of us and we can march all day long. And 2 days later, it's going to be number 1,001 and we still march it. We still have, because a lot, and one thing I don't like, and I'm going to say this, what I don't like is when one of us gets killed and, the first thing other people that don't look like me do is you go dig up this dude's criminal record. I actually saw people say George Floyd, well, he was this, he was that, if he hadn't been on, but you can't tell me your argument, well, if he would just do what they said. Really? Well, the reason why you feel that way, because your child didn't have a knee on his neck for 7 or 8 minutes. Your child has never got pulled out of a car and asked, can I search your car? Your child has never got pulled over just for driving while being black. So it doesn't affect you. So as far as I'm concerned, you can't speak to me about something that does not affect or that's not relative to people that look like me. How you gonna speak on that? You can't. You can't.
Let me compliment black women right there, though.
Mm-hmm.
When those situations do happen, the first ones to show up and defend and tell them that's not acceptable is black women. And so I think part of creating value is we got to give people flowers where they deserve it. And so I highly appreciate black women right there, because they've been there, they've been steadfast, they don't turn and look the other way, they step up on that. So I want to kudos black women on that.
I'll get you this long one. Hold up. There we go. Yeah, I agree. So speaking from a standpoint of a black man, and I'm gonna let you give me it's like a church program, Jason. I'm gonna give you closing remarks. So just a moment. So I will say this, speaking from a black man, speaking from a standpoint of black men, I want to encourage you. And this is, I know it's gonna sound churchy, but hey, that's part of my life. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't quit. Don't be discouraged, and distance yourself from anybody that aligns with any of those adjectives I just described. Get away from people who breed negativity. Get away from negative family members, negative women. Get away from that, because you can be successful. Stop looking for stories of us being killed. Look for stories for us being business owners. Look for stories of us being model men. Look for, guys that are getting up on Sunday mornings, taking their families to church, that are going to one thing I said about you, Jason, I see you with your kids. Look for stories like that. Don't look for stories, and stop reading social media about deadbeat dads. What about these deadbeat moms? It's get away once, because it's trash in and trash out. If you listen to that, then, you have no choice but to let that affect, how you feel, how you perceive things. So closing remarks, Jason, go.
Value yourself. Don't, if there's one thing I would like to leave 2021 with, is black women and black men stop fighting each other. I do not see the point of it. I don't think it is productive. Value yourself enough to not force yourself to stay in a bad situation. But if you're in a situation that created responsibilities, take care of your responsibilities, period. Period. Because it's not even taking care of your responsibilities. Whatever you don't like in life, with your responsibilities, you are building the next generation. You are building the next thing. So if you see a black woman who is devaluing you, man, ignore it. Black women, if you see it, ignore it. They can't be the topic of conversation all the time. In this podcast, definitely they can, right? But let's do more of sharing positivity, right? We're already fighting society that is tearing us down. Why are you helping them fight that fight, right? You're donating to the rich. And so, value yourself. It is okay for our very masculine men. If you see something that it doesn't fit your definition of masculinity, do not crap on them and create toxic masculinity. And then people might respect the fact that we're trying to push regular masculinity as well. So let's stop the infighting. If I said anything to defend you on this podcast, I apologize. That wasn't my intent, but I meant what I said.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I didn't mean for you to feel bad about it. I didn't mean for it to hurt you. So I apologize for that. But let's do better. Let's try to improve, and let's stop fighting each other.
Right. Okay, Jason, I want to thank you for coming on Clifford's Corner, and you are a welcome guest on here. I'm going to let you know that you bring life, you give a different perspective, because and that's what we need to hear. People don't want to just hear from me; they need to hear somebody else's side of the story. So thank you again, Jason, for coming on, and we will talk to you later. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Okay, so there we have it. Again, we were talking about the emasculation of black men. Again, if you have a topic that you want us to discuss, simply email us at thecliffordscornershow@gmail.com. Once again, that email address is thecliffordscornershow@gmail.com. I want you to also like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and this is super important. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you, and we will see you next time.
You've been listening to Clifford's Corner Podcast.
The hood love what I do. Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram.